Summer League has given the Phoenix Suns a little bit of hope. Plus, a little debate on social media, and I thought it'd be fun to weigh in. Is there any world, chance, or any reason at all Jonathan Gannon and Monti Ossenfort are coaching for their jobs? Plus, an announcement in the second segment, but we'll get to it all next.
The Ben Garcia Show. Yeah. Woo. Best show in the land. Yup. Listen. Come and get your information from Ben Garcia. Get the latest on your quarterback, running backs, and receivers. Tune in, so any other show you don't need them. Any news that he giving out, please just believe him. Giving out the latest prediction and top-notch analysis. Wanna hear the truth, better have thick skin like calluses. The latest move that your team just made can be damaging. The dudes ain't speaking no facts, they just be rambling. Lights, camera, action, turn on the show, go get the cameraman. Yeah. Lights, camera, action, turn on the show, go get the cameraman. The Ben Garcia Show.
What is up, guys? Welcome in to yet another edition of the Ben Garcia Show. A lot of things to get into on this edition of the Ben Garcia Show. I was actually going to take today off. If you are a true Ben Garcia Show fan, you know that to be the case because I actually posted that I wasn't going to do a show this morning, and then I deleted it. And there's a good reason for why I deleted it. I was ready to kind of take the day off. I'm thinking about taking a little bit of time off next week while, things are kind of in the mud. But we have an announcement. In the second segment, when we talk some Cardinals, I'll tell you guys something kind of cool that's going on today. All right. And I didn't know about that until later on. Do me a favor. Like, share, subscribe to the Ben Garcia Show. Tell a friend potentially about the Ben Garcia Show. And also get in on the conversation and follow me on all social media platforms at Ben Garcia Show, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter. If there's a social media platform, I am there. So get in on the conversation. Follow me over there. Tell me why you love me. Tell me why you hate me. Mostly the latter of the two. I find it kind of hilarious. All right. So for the first time in a couple of years, the Phoenix Suns have real hope. And a part of that kind of comes from the Summer League. Or I guess I should say most of it comes from the Summer League. I was pretty bullish on the Phoenix Suns draft class, like of a lot of other people. I wasn't someone who was dogging on this draft class at all. I thought it was a really well done, well thought out draft process. In fact, it should make you pretty ecstatic that it feels like the Suns at least have the draft down. One of the reasons why I was really worried about losing James Jones is because I thought he was a pretty good drafter. Now, is he Spoelstra or Brad Stevens or one of those like elite level shark GMs that are just good at everything? No. But I thought he had the draft down. And I think in the NBA, where it's so important to get cheap labor, especially when you're paying guys like Devin Booker millions upon millions of dollars to be on your team, or Kevin Durant last year, or Bradley Beal, who looks like he'll get bought out tomorrow, but that continues to get pushed back for some reason, and no one really knows why. The Suns feel like they have the draft down. And now it feels like with what the Suns have done in one off season is flip the script on who they are. No, they're not a championship level team, but they weren't a championship level team over the past two seasons. I would argue that first season with Kevin Durant, they did have a chance to make some noise in the playoffs. In fact, they did. They were the only team to take the Denver Nuggets 6 games in the playoffs that year. But the Suns feels like they have real hope for the first time in a really long time. We're talking about what they've done over the last two drafts. And watching the game on Friday against the Washington Wizards, seeing what the Phoenix Suns did, it was pretty astounding. Hey, my guys, Aaron and Saul in the chat. What's up, guys? Appreciate you guys being here this morning. If you weren't here a second ago, I do have an announcement to make in the second segment when I'm talking some Cardinals. So we'll do and hang on there. But for the first time, it feels like the Suns have real hope. And you saw what they put together over the last couple of games in Summer League. And you're starting to ask yourself now, okay, could the Suns not compete this year? But could they be a team that firmly makes the playoffs? And you look at what Ryan Dunn did, the things we wanted to see from Ryan Dunn and Ighodaro, and then we can get to the rookies in just a second. But Ryan Dunn did exactly what we were hoping he would do. Walk in and know he's too good to be here. We're here anyways. Most of the NBA players go to the Summer League. It doesn't mean that they play, but they show up, they mingle, they do brand deals. Ryan Dunn was there, and they probably said, hey man, you should play in this. And that should tick you off. If you're a second-year player who I think is as good as Ryan Dunn is, it's not disrespectful, but they want to see you work on your craft a little bit more. Ryan Dunn was awesome in the first game. A man amongst boys against a Washington Wizards team which nearly played their starting lineup in the Summer League because that's how young of a team they are. Trey Johnson, Keyshawn Johnson, or Keyshawn George. Keyshawn Johnson. That's funny. Bub Carrington, Alex Sarr. If I'm not mistaken, 4 of their 5 guys will likely start for them. And Ryan Dunn was the best player on the floor. Now, the Wizards aren't exactly some elite level team, but Alex Sarr, Bub Carrington, Trey Johnson, those are highly touted prospects. And Ryan Dunn was better than all of them. He showed up to the game and was better than all of them. His aggressiveness getting to the basket, the driving and kicking, the pace that he played with, both teams played really fast in that game, but him shooting the ball, shot 2 of 5 from 3, 7 of 12 from the field overall, was a team best for actually playing, plus 13. Or I guess I should say, he was a team best in the starting lineup, plus 13, 17 points. He was great. And I think he immediately played himself out of Summer League. Someone who should not be both be in Summer League or should not be in Summer League still. And that's exactly what he did. So what we saw from Ryan Dunn was it looks like he might be ready to take the next step in his development. And then we saw the same thing with Oso. Oso in the second game on Sunday did worry me a little bit. He came out a little lazy, a little lethargic. Listen, it was 12:30 that the game was being played. Maybe that's a little early. He's not going to be asked to play very many early games like that. Maybe 2 or 3. But what I really liked what I saw from him was the athleticism. The driving to the basket and dunking on people. I was explaining this to my guy Brendan on Locked On Suns last night. I knew Oso Ighodaro was an athletic player. I didn't know he had that in him. In back-to-back games, got a guy on his hip, threw the ball down with his left hand. That is pretty outstanding. And I hadn't seen Oso Ighodaro do that in the regular season. He looks more athletic. He looks like he knows how to use his length a little bit better. Banging down with bodies down low. He's got 20 rebounds, if I'm not mistaken, through the 2 games. 14 rebounds in the first game, another 9 in the second game. So he's got 23 rebounds, if that's my quick math is working there. 20, whatever. He's got 20 plus rebounds in the last 2 games. So him using his athleticism, his aggressiveness, it feels like both guys have taken that next step of, okay, we have a year under our belt. We're going to use that experience to expose these younger guys that are playing in the Summer League. And we're going to be tougher, we're going to be stronger, and we're going to get to the basket at will, and we're going to pass better. Oso made me think for the first time, I always thought he was a good player, but he made me think for the first time, oh, wow, I think there's a spot for you on this team. Before I wasn't sure, because you had Maluach, you had Ryan Dunn, you had Fleming, you had Nick Richards, you had Mark Williams. You kind of had enough bigs to settle the 4 and 5 situation. And it was going to be kind of hard for Oso to make that cut, given the fact that he doesn't have a lot of offensive prowess. He's not a very good offensive player, at least scoring the basketball. But him incorporating the push shot, as well as offensive rebounding, dribbling, driving and kicking, finding the open guy, driving to the basket and dunking on someone. Those are all things we need to see from Oso in year 2, and he played like someone who did not want to be cut. Did not want to be traded. He wanted to be a part of this team. And now I'm like, before I was all about, I would attach Oso to get rid of Beal. Yeah, I would attach Oso to get another player. I would attach Oso to get rid of Grayson Allen. But I don't think I would anymore. I think he has a real spot on this team now. And now I turn to someone like Nick Richards or Ryan Dunn at the 4, and I think, okay, what if I moved Ryan Dunn down to the 3? That's kind of where I'm at now. And then moving over to the rookies. Khaman Maluach is a clear example of who actually watched the game and who didn't. I saw some people get kind of upset about Carter Bryant, who looked really good defensively, not very good offensively. I think what Summer League does is make you think, okay, do I like what the Suns did? Or am I starting to have some regrets? Do I feel better about who the Suns drafted? Or am I starting to have some regrets about who the Suns drafted? That's all really Summer League is. Do the players that you drafted show some flash? And outside of Rasheer Fleming, who we haven't seen yet, but I think's game is too good for the Summer League and is much more based for an NBA style of play, Maluach and Koby Brea have exceeded expectations. Khaman Maluach, for the first quarter of that game, kind of fell asleep a little bit defensively and was kind of just starting to get his feet wet. But him coming in, establishing his presence down low, he did all the things that we expected to see from him out of the draft that he does well. He defended the paint well. He had 2 blocks. I would like to see him rebound the ball more, but what are you supposed to do? They were making the guy shoot a bunch of 3-point jumpers. It wasn't like he was losing rebounds down low. Getting out in transition, dunking the ball. I thought, although the coordination dribbling the basketball wasn't awesome, he still threw the ball between his legs every now and then because that's just what he does. He's a superbly talented guy. And dunking the basketball, aggressiveness, and the most underlying part of Maluach's game, not just the dunking, the defending the paint, the catching lobs, the dribble handoffs. All those things are great with Maluach. Plus, you kind of see the ability for a potential stretch 5 in him. He's very loud defensively. He wants to be a leader. He wants to go the extra mile. That guy loves basketball. That guy cares about basketball. And him doing something that I've never seen DeAndre Ayton do or other Suns bigs do to the extent that he is, he's loud, he's vocal, he lets you know what's going on in the court. He's trying to be a leader on the court while also being coachable. That's the type of player the Suns needed. And then you look at Koby Brea. I don't want to overreact to Koby Brea, but he looked like Devin Booker in the first 2 games of the Summer League. He's not Devin Booker. Devin Booker is probably more athletic. Well, that's not even probably. He's more athletic. He's a better dribbler. He's a better playmaker. He's a better passer. But the just scoring element with Koby Brea did remind you of Devin Booker. Those elbow pull-up jumpers, getting all the way up and releasing the ball at its highest point, looked exactly like Devin Booker. Falling to his left side, shooting it over a defender, draining it, the confidence with the 3-point shot. He scores just like Devin Booker. And if you could get someone in the second round, the number 41st overall pick, the standard isn't super high. Can he be a rotational microwave scorer off the bench? Maybe Devin Booker isn't the correct comp. Maybe it's someone like Malik Monk. Comes off the bench, gets you an easy 10 to 12 points while starters are resting. And you're like, that's who we wanted here. The Suns' future feels the most bright that it's felt in the past half decade, probably. In the past 5 years, the Suns' future has never felt more bright than this moment. Ryan Dunn and Ighodaro are taking that next step. Ryan Dunn and are showing their athleticism. They're dominating Summer League. They're showing they are a man amongst boys. They felt like the varsity players who went and played JV for a night because they weren't getting enough playing time in varsity and then just dominating those younger players. Koby Brea and Khaman Maluach are showing supreme promise to where you feel like you might have solved two positions, the center position, as well as the come off the bench, microwave scorer, and be a pesky defender potentially. And you haven't even seen what you got in Rasheer Fleming because they're being so careful with his knee injury, whatever the heck you want to call that, which I'm sure is just a sore knee. He's still practicing. If these were real games, he'd be playing. But it's the Summer League. No one really cares. After watching Summer League and seeing what seeing the second year leap that Oso and Dunn are making, and the promise you see in your rookies and Maluach and Brea, it leads you to believe now the Suns aren't contenders. They're not Western Conference Finals contenders. But can they be a sneaky playoff team that gives a higher seed a little scare in the first round? That is what the standard should be. That's what the Suns championship should be this year. And check. It feels like they're checking all the boxes in Summer League. And that's much better than where we were a month ago. All right. Summer League's been fun. Really fun to watch over the past couple of weeks. So quick, guys. I have a little announcement for you guys in the chat before we talk some Cardinals here in just a minute as I move this out of the way. If you didn't get your daily scoop enough here on the Ben Garcia show this morning, tune in to Fox Sports 1 at 11:40 a.m. and I will be talking some Arizona Cardinals on The Herd today with my guy Jason McIntyre, who was hosting. So if you guys want to get your more fix of the Ben Garcia show or more fix of me today, you can check it out at 11:40 a.m. Arizona time. That's Pacific time. And I'll be talking some Arizona Cardinals with my guy Jason McIntyre on The Herd. Pretty cool. That's a show that I grew up idolizing. Colin Cowherd is my he's like my he's easily my like broadcasting idol. And so I've befriended Jason, and Jason and I are good buddies. And so he texted me last night. Colin's, I guess, flight's delayed or something, and so he's going to be hosting the show. And so if you guys want to get a more of a fix, I will be on The Herd today at 11:40 a.m. Pacific time, talking some Arizona Cardinals with my guy Jason. So yeah, that is, and hopefully I can get the segment and post it after to here. I'm sure I can. I'm sure you just have to ask, but that's kind of the announcement I was making. I don't want to make it a big deal because, like, yeah, it is cool. It's like I'll be honest with you, it's like little high school Ben's like dream kind of coming true for 15 minutes for as long as I'm on the show talking Cardinals. But like at the end of the day, like it's just a guest appearance and that's cool. And you know, hopefully I ace it. We'll see how it goes there, but pretty cool. So yeah, 11:40. If you guys want to check me out on The Herd, I will be there with my guy Jason talking Cardinals, and that's why the lights are down. I figured the lights looked a little tacky to be on a national wide show. So I'll be there today, guys, and appreciate you guys continuously supporting the Ben Garcia show. I know it's a slow time of the year, but either way, it's pretty cool to be able to do that kind of stuff. And, you know, everyone's viewership is down at this point, but I appreciate you guys. Spider, Saul, Aaron in the chat. Anyways, let's get some Arizona Cardinals talk. Got to prep myself for later today. That's a lie. I don't actually know if this is what they're talking about. They said they'll send me questions later. I'll tell you guys about the experience tomorrow. That'll be kind of fun. Little story time on the Ben Garcia show. Okay. There was a little debate on social media yesterday. A guy that has gone after me a couple of times, but I don't think I don't know. I don't want to attack anyone personally, but Mike Jurecki put out that it's a make or break year for Monti Ossenfort and Jonathan Gannon, meaning if they don't make the playoffs this year, they are 100% getting fired. And then Johnny Venerable quote tweeted Mike Jurecki like, this is just false. It's dumb, all that stuff. This is more of a make or break year for Kyler Murray. And we've talked about this ad nauseum. I don't need to get into the fact that Kyler Murray has to be a more consistent player in 2025. He has to be someone that from week 1 to 9 is the same player in weeks 10 to 18. Kyler has to be better, but we know that. I'm not breaking any news. So, although we know Kyler has to be awesome, I'm not breaking any news here. It is a make or break year for Kyler. We could argue that maybe Kyler Murray's make or break year means we just know he's not the guy, but he could still be back next year. And some people are on the fence about that. I'm more skeptical than the everyday Cardinal fan that Kyler is just going to figure out in year 7. I hope he does. My life gets 10 times better if he does. More national TV appearances, more money, more all that good stuff if Kyler is awesome. That's where we'll go. However, the issue with that is I just don't know if he's going to figure it out in year 7. I hope he does, but we'll see. There's arguments to be made. Cliff Kingsbury was a buffoon, and he was as a head coach, and Kyler has never had as good of a team around him as he's going to have this year, and he carried that 2020 team, if I'm not mistaken, to the playoffs. I think it was 2020. And I would agree with a lot of that stuff. But it's year 7 now. Kyler has to be more consistent, but that's not the point. Is there a world where Monti Ossenfort and Jonathan Gannon are coaching for their jobs in 2025? And I don't think it's something that you can just dismiss. Although I do think Jonathan Gannon and Monti Ossenfort have a longer leash than Kyler Murray. I think this season would have to be a disaster for both guys to get fired. But they're not untouchable. If the Cardinals just missed the playoffs, and it's because Kyler was up and down and he wasn't good enough again, and he plateaued after week 9, and post-bye week Kyler Murray reared its head. No, you're not firing those two guys. But there is a world where it's year 3. You have a really talented team around you. Your schedule is really easy, for the most part, cake for like the first 12 weeks. You have to perform. And it's not enough to be able to change the culture. Because at the end of the day, although I do think both guys are going to keep their jobs, Monti Ossenfort and Jonathan Gannon haven't proven anything. And they know that. That's not me going after either guy. I've sung the praises. Jonathan Gannon has helped change the culture here. Monti Ossenfort has helped bring talented players here. Strategically signing them, not overpaying for washed players like Steve Keim did. That is the recipe for a good team. But at the end of the day, you got to put it in the oven, pull it out, and the good team comes out. There is a world where Jonathan Gannon and Monti Ossenfort lose their jobs. It's just a very small one. But I don't want to let Jonathan Gannon and Monti Ossenfort come into this season with no pressure on them. Monti Ossenfort, I believe, aced the draft. Monti, I believe, was awesome building this team, not overpaying, getting Trey McBride on a deal, and then immediately someone else jumps his deal, drafting the right players. I agree with all that. Jonathan Gannon has put a fairly good coaching staff around him, and we can debate what Drew Petzing does well. However, there is a world where the Cardinals flame out, where the defense isn't good enough, where all the offseason acquisitions that they made to this team didn't work out. There is a world where Jonathan Gannon and Monti Ossenfort could lose their job. Acting like there's no world is, I think that's just, that's putting your head in the sand ostrich style and just saying you don't want any bad things to happen. It is a much bigger percentage that by the end of this year, Kyler Murray is gone and those two guys are here. However, you've done this through the first 2 seasons. You won a couple of games. You got the player you wanted in the draft. You won even more games. And now you're trying to see in year 3 if you can win 11 games and make the playoffs this year, which is totally possible. And I think it is strategically possible. But I don't want anyone to feel like there's no pressure on them this season to succeed, because there is. There at least is a little bit. love just having a sneeze attack this morning on the show. But either way, I want everyone to feel a little bit of pressure. Kyler Murray's got a lot of pressure on him to succeed. Marvin Harrison Jr.'s got a little bit of pressure. I don't want Monti, Ossenfort, and Jonathan Gannon walking into this season like they are completely safe. They likely are, and they should be. JG has brought a different culture here that has helped succeed and grow over the past couple of seasons. Monti Ossenfort has continuously nailed the draft and strategically picked out players that fit this team well. But if things go to hell in a handbasket this year, the defense isn't as good, and the resources that you put into it aren't good enough, and Jonathan Gannon doesn't succeed as a head coach this year, that has to be something that is put into question. You don't just get another year free coaching pass because we like you, because the culture has changed. You have to succeed at some point. It's the same reason for Kyler Murray. The only way Kyler Murray is on this team next year is and they don't make the playoffs, is if he holds up his end of the bargain, but the defense is atrocious, or the offensive line, everyone gets injured, or mass injuries happen. Like, that is a possibility. And same with Jonathan Gannon and Monti Ossenfort. There is a 90% chance that they're back next year, but it's not 100. What if all the players that Monti Ossenfort picked in the draft this year, Jordan Birch is a swing and a miss, Will Johnson's a swing and a miss, Marvin Harrison Jr. never takes that second year leap, and the Cardinals plateau? That's an actual possibility. And if that's the case, guys could lose their jobs. Now, I don't want to make it seem like this is a make or break year for Monti Ossenfort and Jonathan Gannon. If they win 8 games, 7 games, 9 games, and they miss the playoffs, you're talking about 2 guys that are coming back, and you're trying to figure out what's probably going wrong in the quarterback position or the OC position. But when you talk about a season imploding and it's 4, 5, even 6 wins, you're starting to go backwards. And it doesn't matter how good your culture is and how much players like you and adore you. That's an issue. So, with that being said, I understand that it's probably not happening. But I don't like this absolute culture for a team that has proven nothing. Jonathan Gannon has proved he's a leader of men. Monti Ossenfort has proved he's a smart head coach. But no one should be getting a free pass. Marvin Harrison Jr. has to step up this year. James Conner has to stay healthy. Kyler Murray has to be more consistent. The defense has to be better getting pressure at the quarterback. Everyone has a little bit of pressure. Some more than others. Kyler's got the most. JG doesn't have any right now. But everyone's got to have a little bit of pressure going into the season. JG's got to know this thing can't blow up in his face. Monti Ossenfort has to know that his players from this year's draft and last year's draft need to contribute. And the players from his first draft have to continue to move up the totem pole. That's a real thing. I just don't like this idea that because you are someone that we like, that you just get a free pass and you have no pressure on you. Once you make the playoffs, once you succeed a little bit, then yes, I'll give you the praises, and you won't have any pressure to succeed the next year, and you won't lose your spot if things go awry. However, can we not act like anyone on this team has done anything yet? Because they haven't. All right, guys. For those of you that didn't hear, there's a couple more people in the chat this morning. If you want another dose of the Ben Garcia Show today, I will be on the herd at 11:40 a.m. talking some Arizona Cardinals with my guy Jason McIntyre. So be sure to be on the lookout there. Watch that 11:40 a.m. Pacific time. I'll be on the herd. So if you are someone that has been following me for a while, following this journey, I've been in this media space for like 10 years. This is probably a new high. So pretty cool, but also kind of downplaying it a little bit because it's not my show. I'm just a guest. But pretty cool. So if you go ahead and if you see that, screenshot it, send it to me, make fun of what I wore. It'll be fun. So I appreciate you guys continuously supporting the Ben Garcia Show. Cannot wait to do that hit today on the herd. Appreciate you guys tuning into the Ben Garcia Show. Do me a favor because it's a big deal. Hit that like button for me. Just hit the down button on the chat. Hit the thumbs up button. It makes my life a lot easier, and it helps me continue to want to do this show each and every day. So appreciate you guys tuning into the Ben Garcia Show. Follow me on all social media platforms at Ben Garcia Show. Get in on the conversation on social media, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. If it's a social media platform, I am there at Ben Garcia Show. And don't forget to like, share, subscribe, tell a friend about the Ben Garcia Show. All right, guys. Super good to have you guys all in the chat. My guy, Brian Abdullah, a few minutes behind, but congrats. Thanks, man. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. And until tomorrow, it's been the Ben Garcia Show.